Hello, everyone. As we are planning for 2023, one of the things that is going to be on your mind, the trends that are going to be relevant for 2023. That's exactly what we are going to be discussing in this video. Let's dive in. Hello, everyone. My name is Sam Gupta. I am principal at Elevate IQ. Elevate IQ is the independent ERP and digital transformation firm. We help our clients with the digital transformation strategy, business process re-engineering, ERP selection, e-commerce re-platforming, as well as ERP implementation. So let's get back to today's topic, which is going to be the digital transformation trends for 2023. And one of the things that is going to be driving these trends is going to be the expectation for the recession. And now, as we are moving closer to the end of the year, now the prediction is becoming tighter that there is definitely going to be a recession. How brief that is going to be a question, but most companies are probably going to be preparing for these scenarios. So one of the things that you're going to notice from the digital transformation perspective is that the CFOs are going to be very cost focused in the way they are going to be planning. So any of the digital transformation projects that you might be thinking of pitching to your executives, you might want to keep in mind that anything that is going to be cost focused is probably going to be approved. Anything that is going to be growth focused, that is probably not going to be approved, because the CFO knows in their heart that it's going to be really a tough year, and they might not believe that the numbers that you might be quoting from the growth perspective. So one of the things that you might be able to do in terms of maximizing your chances in aligning the pitch with the CFO's goals in terms of what they are thinking. And some of these trends that you are going to notice is going to be the supply chain issues are still going to be there. The inflation issues are still going to be there in 2023. So anything that is going to be helping with these issues, as well as the operational planning, is where you are going to have higher chances of approval. We have compiled based on the interviews that we have done with over 200 different executives, and this is what they feel in terms of what we are likely to see from the digital transformation perspective. So let's look at the list now. Number 15 on our list is the ESG, sustainability, as well as e-invoicing trends that we are noticing. So ESG and sustainability is still going to be very enterprise centric problem, meaning this is only going to be relevant for slightly larger companies. If the regulations are going to be there for these smaller companies, they might need to report this as well, and then they might be required to make either the system centric changes, or they might be required to make any sort of admin changes in terms of compiling these reports. So there might be some implications, and that's the reason why ESG and sustainability is going to be there. The e-invoicing is probably going to be applicable for the developing countries where e-invoicing trends are going to be there. For example, when you look at countries like Mexico, India, these are the countries where e-invoicing is prevalent. So e-invoicing process, the way the process is set up right now, the government organizations are also learning about what is the best way to collect the taxes, but not be overwhelming with respect to the tax procedures that they have set up. So there might be some changes overall in terms of the way they are going to be learning about these procedures, and they are probably going to be making it friendlier for the businesses. But because of this, there are going to be a lot of shift overall in terms of how the reporting is going to be done. And that's the reason why ESG, sustainability, as well as e-invoicing is at number 15 on our list. Number 14 on our list is going to be cybersecurity maturity. And cybersecurity issues are still going to be there in 2023. And our expectation is that there are going to be larger scale cybersecurity attack that are going to surface. And obviously, this is going to be a risk for the smaller companies as well. So CFOs need to be sophisticated in terms of the architectural planning, in terms of understanding how many different software applications are going to be there in the architecture and what is going to be the dependency. If you are using any sort of open source platform, you need to know how vulnerable those could be and how much attack surface area that they might be increasing. So you might need to be thinking about all of that. And that's why the cybersecurity maturity is still going to be a trend for 2023. And that's why it is on our list. Number 13 on our list is going to be the development and retention of talent. Just because of the supply chain imbalances, because of the trends that we have seen, for example, let's say remote working, all of this is causing sort of the imbalances in the talent. And now companies are adopting a lot more automation. So there is also a little skill gap there that is going to be driving the talent shortage. So this is still going to be a trend where you are still going to see the shortage of workers, especially when you look at slightly more trade centric organizations. For example, if you talk about manufacturing, constructions, these are going to be the industries where the availability of talent is still going to be a problem, and that is going to be driving the digital transformation trends. Companies are going to figure out, okay, what can we do to make sure that the experience is going to be easy for the people who are going to be switching the companies, and how can they make sure that they like the systems and the processes of the company so that they are going to be slightly more loyal to the company. So that is also going to be driving the trend for digital transformation. The companies are going to be implementing slightly easier to use systems, for example, cloud native systems. So that is also going to be a trend for 2023. Now, number 12 on our list is going to be AI-driven operations and user experience. AI, when you think about, a lot of people talk about AI, artificial intelligence, but they don't really understand how it is going to be impacting their life. The technology companies are trying to figure out how they can utilize advanced technologies, for example, artificial intelligence, to improve the workflow. So as such, from your user perspective, you are not going to see much of a difference because of the artificial intelligence. You are probably not going to be utilizing artificial intelligence technologies unless you are using that for any sort of forecasting, but that is typically not part of the operational core. So it does not have as much impact on your enterprise architecture or also on the digital transformation initiatives. So the AI driven operations are going to be relevant more from the technology company perspective, and they are going to be implementing all of these changes, and the newer systems are going to be far easier to use. So you might not see the AI directly, but you are going to feel that the user experience is improving, the systems are improving, and that's the reason why this trend is on our list at number 12 for the trends of 2023. Now, number 11 on our list is the rise of third-party and proprietary marketplaces. And if you look at past 2 to 3, 4 years, the marketplaces have been rising in terms of the popularity. There are Amazons of the world, eBays of the world, as well as Walmarts of the world. But now OEMs are trying to figure out, okay, how can they create the marketplace experience? But then there are also tech companies that are creating the marketplaces, and they are going to be controlling the online traffic. So the marketplaces are likely to have far more traffic just because they are going to be carrying more products. They are going to have slightly more cumulative effect in terms of their ranking, because again, they have a lot more SKUs that you as the manufacturer are probably not going to have. They are probably going to be able to spend far more in marketing, so their authority on Google is going to be far higher. So in general, the affiliate marketing companies or the marketplaces are going to rank far higher. So we are going to see more adoption of marketplaces, whether they are going to be driven by your OEMs or by third party marketplaces, but you are going to see this a lot more. That is going to increase the integration complexity of your architecture. You need to find systems that are going to be pre-integrated with these marketplaces, or you need to integrate it yourself. Now, the more moving parts you are going to have in your architecture, that is going to increase your architectural complexity, and you need to make the decision, the systems and the data models that are going to be compliant with the new marketplaces. Those are the ones that you are probably going to be using, and this is going to be driving the adoption for the enterprise software as well as the systems that companies are going to be using. And that's the reason why it is on our list at number 11. Number 10 on our list is going to be workflow automation. Most people don't understand how workflow automation technologies work. The role of workflow automation technologies is going to be to sit on top of your core transactional systems such as your ERP, HCM, CRMs of the world. So what workflow automation technologies are going to do is they are going to be automating the ad hoc workflows that are going to be slightly more interdependent as well as transactional in nature. Now, there is always a debate between RPA versus workflow versus the transactional technologies. So, RPA is really the desktop centric technology. Your workflow is going to be slightly more workflow centric technology that is going to have cross departmental workflow, but the transactional consistency is not going to be as tight as your transactional systems such as your ERP, HCM. So workflow automation technologies are going to play a role in terms of, let's say, cleansing the master data or having a workflow for vendor onboarding, just because these tools are designed for those workflows and they are easier. So we are going to see a lot more adoption of workflow automation technologies, and that's the reason why it ranks at number 10 on our list. Now, number 9 on our list is pre-integrated ERP and bolt-ons. So in the last 2 to 3 years, we have seen a lot of different best of breed systems and the technologies. There's so much overlap in the market at this point of time. And one of the reasons why digital transformation projects fail is because of the integration challenges as well as over engineering of the bolt-ons as well as overlapping of the functionality across these add-ons that are going to be used in the ERP projects. So in 2023, what we are going to see is we are going to see a lot more integration pre-integrated so that you don't have to invest in custom integration. And this is aligned with the overarching strategy for 2023, which is going to be cost focused, and the CFOs cannot really afford to take as much risk. And that's why they are going to be choosing the options that are already going to be pre-integrated. Now, pre-integrated does not always mean that the integration is always going to work for your workflow. So you need to do a little bit of due diligence there in terms of understanding how tight the integration is, how reliable the integration is, and if the integration workflows are going to be compliant with the way you are using that specific tool in your architecture. So pre-integrated tools are going to be great if you can find something, and that is going to be according to your requirements. But it might be the case that you have to build it from the scratch as well. So this is a great trend. We are going to see a lot more, and companies are probably going to be pre-integrating in the way that their tools become slightly more plug and play. So this is the movement that we are going to see from the enterprise software companies. So this is definitely going to be a trend for 2023, and that's why it is on our list. Number 8 is going to be omni-channel experience. And when you look at the omni-channel experience, the bigger companies are already thinking about how they can make the experience omni-channel. A lot of companies talk about how this experience works, but if you look at even the enterprise companies today, even if you look at companies as big as Walmart or Neiman Marcus or Macy's, these companies, when you are going to be shopping at these companies, sure, you might have omni-channel experience when you are going to go from your POS to e-commerce. But then when you look at the comprehensive strategy, when you look at the omni-channel experience, that is going to be whenever you are going from any channel to any channel or any transaction to any transaction. Typically in the architecture today, there are going to be a lot of different holes in that omni-channel experience. And now we are going to see a lot more channels because yes, the metaverse is probably not going to be as pronounced trend in 2023, but at the same time you are still going to see the channels to increase because you are going to see these panels in the mall and they are going to have a lot more shopping experience that they are going to be, the marketers are trying to figure out, okay, wherever they can put the products there, that's what they are going to do. Whether you are talking about malls or bus station or railway station or airports, wherever they can find the customers, their goal is going to be to put the product listing in front of them. And that's why the omni-channel experience is going to be critical. And now if the bigger brands are going to be providing this experience, even the smaller companies need to catch up. And that's why the omni-channel experience is going to be a key for 2023. And that's why it is on our list. Now, number 7 on our list is the headless commerce as well as composable architecture. And the reason why it is on our list is because, sure, headless can come across as slightly more risky just because that's going to require your custom development. But if you look at the way headless works, number one, this is going to tie in with your other trend, which is going to be omni-channel. So it's going to be much easier to onboard new channels, accommodate the needs of the new channels, and create that omni-channel experience, because the only thing you are building in the headless experience is going to be just the head. Some people may argue that building head itself may be very expensive, and that is true as well. But at the same time, if you look at the marketing workflow of companies at this point of time, when they are going to be dealing with the head, typically they re-platform every 3 to 5 years. So, and the re-platforming needs to be done because there is a tight coupling with the head, and it becomes very hard for the code migration when you are going to be changing the one platform to the next. As well as from the composable architecture perspective, the marketers are still going to have control, because what the developers are going to do is they are going to be creating the building blocks that your marketers can use. So the experience is going to be still similar to your head. In this particular case, you are going to get a lot more freedom in terms of what marketers can do. And that's why this is going to be a trend for 2023. And that's why it is on our list. Now, number 6 on our list is going to be the rise of independent consultants. In the last 3 to 4 years, we have seen independent consultants pop up everywhere, and they are getting involved in the e-commerce deals, ERP deals. And the reason why the independent consulting industry is growing is because of the digital transformation failure. When you are going to be working directly with the technology consultants, they typically don't invest as much time in thinking about business process re-engineering. They don't think as much thinking of the architecture from the holistic perspective, how each of the system in the architecture are going to fit in your processes and how they are going to be interacting with each other. So even if you get your ERP or e-commerce right, it might still not work for your business. And the reason for that is going to be because when each of the systems are going to be part of your architecture, they all need to work together. You need to have the centralized master data strategy. You need to have the centralized digital transformation strategy. And that's where the independent consultants really fit in. And we are going to see a lot more independent consultants being involved with the digital transformation initiatives. Number 5 on our list is going to be Industry 4.0. And the reason why Industry 4.0 trends are on our list is because these trends help companies save money. Sure, they could help with the growth as well, but the major part of the Industry 4.0 initiatives is going to be getting more from your existing equipment, from your machines. You might get some benefit by deploying the remote monitoring tools, for which you might be using human resources in the remote areas, and now the talent is becoming trickier as well. So that's why the companies are going to be thinking, okay, how can we utilize Industry 4.0 for these initiatives? And that is going to tie in with your cost focused strategy, because rather than buying new equipment or machine, now they are going to be thinking about, okay, what can we do to make sure that we are getting the output from our existing investments first. And that's the reason why Industry 4.0 is on our list. Number 4 is going to be the cost pressures driving the shift from larger ERP systems to mid-market. And the reason why this trend is there is because the way companies estimated their growth plan, the way companies estimated their operational capacity plan, they didn't forecast that there is going to be a recession, there is going to be COVID-19, and because of that, their growth expectation was far higher. Now, that growth expectation is not going to be there because we don't have as much market capitalization. So companies don't have as much cash. So they are thinking about how they can match the operational capacity with the growth plans. And any of the systems that they had installed, keeping the operational capacity in mind when we had the growth phase, now they have to scale it down. If you look at some of the larger systems, the consulting cost is going to be 2 to 3 times, sometimes 5 times. The licensing cost is probably going to be about the same as well. So now companies are thinking, okay, what can we do to make sure that we can utilize probably some of these mid-market systems that can probably work for us, even if we have to take some of the workarounds because of some of the features that might not be available in the mid-market systems. That's going to be okay. Then keeping this fixed cost, that is definitely going to be a cash burden for most companies, and that's going to be a trend for 2023. Number 3 on our list is going to be reduction of geopolitical exposure on operational processes as well as systems. And the reason why this is going to be a trend, because of the geopolitical issues, whether we talk about war or whether we talk about any of the conflicts between countries, now the supply chain is going to be imbalanced because all of these negotiations, whether we are talking about any sort of sanctions that the governments are putting, and because of that, the original bill of materials may not stand true anymore in the new situation. So now that may require your process configuration. You might need to move some of your operational capacity to a different countries that are not going to be as risky. So companies are already going to be thinking about this, how they can manage their geopolitical risk, and that might drive the digital transformation initiatives as well as new system installations that are going to be in 2023, and that's why it is on our list at number 3. Now, number 2 is going to be supply chain disruptions as well as mitigation strategies. We have seen in 2022, 2021 that supply chain issues may cause disruptions, and that is going to continue until the supply chain completely balances. It's going to take a couple of years before the supply chain completely balances. So that's also going to be driving, the companies are going to be thinking about, okay, how can we not have the single vendor risk for each of the part? They are probably going to be having multiple vendors, and they are going to be thinking about, okay, what are going to be my parts that are going to be bottleneck for my manufacturing? So they are going to be reshuffling their processes, they are going to be reshuffling their bill of materials, and that may require the system implementation, and that may drive the newer system implementation as well. And that's the reason why supply chain disruptions are at number 2 on our list. Now, number 1 on our list is going to be change of perspective from growth focused transformation to cost saving. And this is the overarching trend for 2023. Any of the initiatives are probably going to be cost focused, and this is going to be a key trend. And that's the reason why it is at number one on our list. So any of the trends that we or any of the initiatives are probably going to be driven by how much money companies can save. Now that could be in terms of increasing the operational capacity based on the existing resources, but the overarching theme is really going to be, okay, how can we save money? And that's the reason this is going to be a number one trend that we are going to notice in 2023. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check the link that we are going to include as part of this video. That is going to have slightly more detailed commentary regarding these issues. We are also going to be including our 2023 digital transformation report that covers this research as well as these trends in deep detail. So make sure you guys are going to download that. This podcast is also available in the audio format. So if you want to subscribe to Apple, Spotify, Google, you can enjoy this in the audio format. Also, make sure you guys are going to hit the subscribe button on YouTube so that you can be updated when we are going to release our new episodes. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.